one of the greatest, if not the greatest podcast. It's Brad and Daniel, the Gas Bros.
Hey, yo. Good evening, everybody.
Good press, eh?
Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night, another episode of the Gas Bros podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Daniel.
Yo.
And extra special guest we have tonight. Now, he hails all the way from South Australia. And we met the bloke when he was, I think, 14, and we nearly ruined his life. But he grew into a fine gentleman. And we have Cameron. How you going?
Oh, I'm pretty good, mate. Good evening. Good evening, fellas.
Hey.
Now, I think we were talking about it's been about 10 years. 10 years since we've all had a chat like this in the old Call of Duty lobbies, the GTA lobbies. And that's about it. Street Gang the Knives. We go by many names. Elnooblay, Street Gang the Knives.
Knives. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Bit of a backstory, I guess. I was early 20s, so this makes you blokes very young, and probably I shouldn't have taken you guys under my wing, but we tried to establish like an Australian jackass where we would film stuff, stupid stuff, not even good stuff. It's so cringe, man. I went back and watched it, and I was like, God, what were we doing?
Oh, it was horrendous. It's horrendous when you go back and look at it. But it was so much fun at the time.
It was great at the time.
Well, for starters, Cameron, you grew up in a little country town. So, I mean, and you have these like city blokes come over, I guess, and then we're just like, hey, let's go film some stuff in the bush.
Set some shit on fire.
Yeah, set some shit on fire. So give us a bit of a backstory for you, Cameron.
Oh, well, what was I? I would have been 14 or 15 when we met. Me and Daniel, we were at high school. I remember that was where we first initially met, but I think I was too afraid to like speak to you at school. I was such a weird, reserved, shy kind of person.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, dude. I remember having a Kurt Cobain poster on my wall as I fell asleep and like idolized Kurt Cobain. That's such a horrendous MTV. Oh my God. So cringe. But that's the best bit about that part of your life, you know, when you're individuating in such a horrendously egotistical, gross kind of way. But man, I'm so nostalgic for it at the moment when I look back. Especially I've been listening to CKY Heath and I've been training and man, it's just it's such a funny time. And I think we're looking back collectively at our generation, you know, and the age we are. But what's my backstory? That's where we come from, and we hung out for like a couple of years, and then it ended really abruptly, and we kind of all went off on our own like separate journeys, I guess, after that. But that was a real like formative thing for me, you know. And like you were saying, coming from the country, the whole idea of doing this like Jackass style Viva La Bam inspired thing, that was like I wanted to get out of there, man. I felt like I'd fucking grown up on Tatooine or something, you know. I felt like Luke Skywalker looking out at the Flinders Ranges, like I was never going to get out of there. So that was my first like, oh my God, people from outside of this tiny little place, you know, that was such an escape for me.
Yeah, and like being the only bloke with a license, really, and like I would take you to the other towns.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, definitely. We couldn't drive around. You were like, that's a whole level of freedom that you experience as a teenager where like, I don't need my family. I can go my own way. My mate's got a car.
Oh, man.
We were 15 hanging out with the 21-year-old dude, taking us partying every week.
I wasn't taking you. I was going to your parties. You guys were the ones that were hanging out with like 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, I feel like Daniel was the real instigator, you know. I was along for the journey.
Looking back, I may have caused a few of the ruckus.
The ruckus.
I think there was, I don't know, there was many a times where like I had to go to parties to bail Daniel out. And I love-
Man,
yeah,
you had to come to school to bail me out. Do you remember that?
yeah,
We had
yeah.
the whole school following us out. We turned
Oh,
around,
my
there's
God.
like 50 blokes behind.
That was
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. Who was it? It was Shane. Was it me and Shane that rocked up?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Rocked
because
up
I
and it was
stayed.
just-
I remember that vivid because I stayed home that morning, and then Cammas rings me and goes, "Bro, they're here, man." And I'm like, "All right." And I came out and woke you up, and you're like, "Let's go." We just rock up, man. I walk in and
Yeah.
like, "Cammas, let's go," and there was just a mob of people following us out.
That's crazy. Why?
well, I-
That
I
was
just
just
felt
from
like-
people talking shit. That's what all anything was that in that town. Someone would say you talk shit, and then that was it. Let's fight.
I think
How crazy.
yeah, I sort of like stirred up a lot of stuff when I first moved there, didn't I? Like this, like this 20-year-old come like from Perth with like a flood of rumors behind him, which none were like substantiated.
He killed a man.
I killed a man, or I had stabbed somebody, or I had been stabbed, and the drugs, like people were after me and stuff like that. And in all realness, I just moved over there to work in the mines.
And you only did that for a month.
Yeah, my mother's boyfriend got me a job in the mines, and that's the reason
Yeah,
why
that's
I was
right.
there.
Man, it's
But,
so funny when you look at those little rural towns, how they just thrive off of that sort of behavior. Like the narratives that are there, like it's really bizarre. I've met so many people from like towns around that place, like a similar population size, similar demographic, you know, and they just all like everyone has the same kind of experience, and they're like magnets, you know. They get to the city and everyone ends up meeting everyone. You know? It's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, what a strange little town Port Augusta was. But I think the best thing that either all three of us did was get out of there.
Yeah,
we
yeah. And we made really radical changes as well, you know. Like I feel like we all went like really extreme in different directions.
especially when we start like, well, let's go back to Elnooblay because it's the reunion no one's been asking for. Is how I've been, and how it started. We just I just jumped off the roof one day and broke my foot.
Yeah.
And I filmed it terribly. You missed half of it.
Yeah. So I like jumped off the roof, like my shoe slipped off, and then I landed awkwardly in my shoe, and that's what broke my foot. And then I became the cameraman. And we just had a camera laying around, and we're just like, you know what? Let's just let's go. But in then Daniel got a couple of other mates. I can't remember their name. Was one of them Liam?
Yeah, Liam.
Yeah,
Matt. Yeah.
Headley was another member, but you know, things change when you get older. Priorities change, stuff like that. And I think the bond that you, me, and Daniel had formed, I guess it hasn't been broken and probably never will. Because I see, like, yeah, obviously Daniel's my little brother, but I seen you as also like another little brother.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you were like an older brother figure for me at the time as well. I remember that too. That was really cool.
But we like in a little country town, we had nothing and no direction.
And there's a real sense of like no hope. Those places are so isolated. You just feel like you're detached from the rest of the world.
I do feel like, yeah, exactly what you said earlier. Like it was trying to escape, I guess, from the small country town.
For me, it was just like Groundhog Day. You're just doing the same shit over and over, rinse and repeat, go out on the weekend, get drunk. You know, it was just the most mundane lifestyle I can imagine ever living. I don't know how I lived there for so long.
Throw stuff at the train as we were walking over the bridge, and I think we made more enemies as Elnooblay than we did friends. Because towards the end, we were getting chased out of every party we went to. It wasn't good.
I guess that's another part of it, though. It's like we could rebel against the narrative by just being these like You're just
Hooligans.
not caring, you know? Yeah.
That's
Hooligans,
exactly right.
basically.
No, that's exactly right. We were anti-establishment, but we weren't really trying to be anti-establishment. We were just yeah. And God, we lost some friends, you know. We gained some friends, but you know, it's all part of the learning curve, I guess. But like, it wasn't all bad there. Like, you know, we've had a friendship now. What? How old are you now, Cameron?
31, I think. What year is it?
31.
Yeah,
So
31.
Like 15 years, 15, 16
Pretty much,
years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember we went to high school together a couple of years before we ever even spoke. And then we got drunk at actually Headley's, I think it was 18th or 21st birthday. That was the first night we really got drunk together. And we're like, hey, I know you from school. Hey, I know you. And then it was like the first day of the next year, you just rocked up and we just started hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I just rocked up one day at a party.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Cameron. He had the CKY jumper on.
I remember that.
Just
that's
straight
right.
up,
CKY, yeah.
just straight off the rip, he had the CKY, and I thought, I'm gonna fuck with him. And I said, it should say "Viva la Bam," and you were just like, oh, this is about CKY. And then and then I guess I don't even. It's just one of the things. Yeah, you never left after that.
You was always around.
Yeah, I kind of almost lived with you guys, didn't I? In that back room. I remember sleeping on like half a mattress for like a long time, like 6 months or something, you know?
We had a granny flat. We had a granny flat, and about four of us lived in it.
I called it the pool house, make it sound fancier.
Well, it was a pool house. We had a pool.
It essentially was, yeah.
But yeah, oh man, we did all kinds of things. Like Tuesday nights. Remember, Tuesday nights was darts night. We had the darts team. That was crazy.
I think half of that. I think the other two members of that dart team are in jail.
I wouldn't be surprised. Who was it? Deke.
Shadow and Deke.
Was Shadow in the darts team?
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely went to jail. I know that. was. I think that was just before we left. Shadow. I remember that because like
you have a name like Shadow, you're going to jail, or that's about it.
The name gives away so much. Who has that nickname? It's hilarious.
I do remember meeting Shadow for the first time because he was just like me, but he was slightly older, and like that was when I was just like. I had seen that movie, The New Guy, with that skinny bloke, and he like always getting picked on at school.
He
changes schools, and then he just like dresses differently, and then like finds the first guy in the school that looks like the tough guy, and scares the shit out of him. Doesn't fight him, just scares the shit out of him, and then he gets his reputation. So that was my thinking of when I went to Port Augusta. And I did because I do remember like I only had been there like a week or so, and somebody had already like started rumors about me, and I don't know if they was those blokes that always hang out at the front of the Macca's car park. Do you remember those guys?
Yeah, I totally remember that crew.
And then I don't know who was with me, but I had gotten word that they had were just spreading these awful rumors about me. And I was just like, I'm not having none of that. So I went there either by myself or with someone else, and I just confronted all of them. And then after that, that's when everybody was just like, whoa, this Brad bloke's, he's a loose cannon.
I love that at the time. I thought you were like the most hardcore dude, but you've based it all off of the new guy.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That's the secret. I went there thinking, you know,
who's the bitch now?
Yeah. That's exactly right. And I thought so. I got some tattoos that made me a little bit more scarier.
G-unit.
Got a few tattoos. That got me, And then I just had this band of children so behind me. I think like looking back on it like right now, I was just like I had these like young guys that would look up to me, and I was like, well, I can't be a bitch now. These
Top
guys,
jig.
yeah, these guys are looking at me, and then that's probably what you guys looked at me like this, and then I had to like step it up every time. I'm like, well, I can't let these guys down. These guys think I'm like fucking, I'm their god.
It's crazy, like, because we were 15, so that was like normal, like attitude, rebel behavior. You're 21. You're like, dudes, let's go smash up the school.
The difference, I think, and I think about it now because I didn't like. So going back to like me around when I was your age, right? Like my dad was like really focused, on taking that next step in football. So like when I was like 15 or 16, Dad converted the spare room into a gym room, man. And like, so I was training football Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when I wasn't in there, like when I wasn't at footy, like, yeah, Dad had me like lifting weights at like 15 or 16.
Stunted your growth.
Stunted my growth. No, but like, yeah, in all seriousness, like, yeah, like, and so Dad, like, the main goal, obviously, for me was to, try and be drafted into football, like have football for a career. So like all my friends from high school were like literally they like 15, 16. These kids are going out partying, drinking, and like my dad, Dad never let me do anything. And then my best mate at the time was my cousin Gareth, and he was 2 years younger than me. So we just skateboarded. I just like played footy, skateboarded, and cricket on Friday night. And then like Dad wouldn't let me do anything. He let me have Gareth over, but that was about it. So like everything was football, football, football. So when that didn't when obviously that fell through, like I got a like one call up, but it just never like come to fruition. But like after that, I was lost. Do you know what I mean? Like I had it was football or nothing, but I had nothing after that. So I had nothing to fall back on. So yeah, like Mum's boyfriend at the time, he got me the job in the mines, and I moved over, and then like all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I had this freedom, like that childish freedom that you guys had. And so like when you guys said like, yeah, I felt like one of you guys, and I just ran with it. I just had the luxury of being able to buy us alcohol and drive us around. But
I
like
think too, like besides like with we game a little bit and stuff, there wasn't like social media, there wasn't other things. So we literally had to go out and find our own fun a lot more than what people do these days. So we were literally forced to like go and do whatever we felt like doing, which just happened to be fun, dumb stuff.
But like I don't know if you remember, like I had the job, so I had the nice stuff. I remember I got the very first Xbox 360 that was pretty much in the town.
Big W.
Yeah, Big W. I went down to Big W and we got the Xbox 360, and then that we got the two controllers, and then like yeah, that's how we gamed back then. Just both took turns sitting around gaming. And then, yeah, but everything else, like everything, you get bored and escalated, eh? It just escalated. It got pretty wild.
Yeah. That's probably its own podcast. How wild shit got.
Yeah, like a proper Elnooblay special would go into a lot. Like, we'll deep dive the car chase.
But I've told people stories about that kind of there's a particular 12-month period that I've like thought about a lot over the years and told heaps of people, man, and no one believes a lot of that stuff. You don't want to build it up too much, but it's like we lived like a double life, when you think about it. I think we used up like like I often think that at times you have like this risk where you could have died in another universe and it fractures off and goes in another direction. Like, man, I probably went through like 15 lives during that short little period.
Yeah, like we even like snuck into the Sterling pub, and I think Cameron was there, but like Daniel, man, he's like 15, 16, having like, we're going to school, and then once he got home from school, we like literally walk around the corner, and he'd walk straight in the back room to the pokies, and he was literally playing the pokies and having like Jacks and Cokes at 16. And then like we were playing pool and stuff in the front, having a couple of. I was on the Southern Comforts back then, but that's how wild it was.
Now, I had my 15th birthday at a pub in Whyalla, and I remember it was rough as. Like, there was a brawl that was happening. Like, you know, it's full on. We're just walking the streets of Whyalla all night. Oh, dude.
Yeah. I did. Like, I remember like many a times because Whyalla had that nightclub. Do you remember?
yeah, I definitely remember.
And we tried to get. I think we tried to go there one night, and then like I was already drunk, and Jesus Christ, I think. We were like driving there and that like 80 k's and that bloody kangaroos like bouncing along the side of the car. Good times. But anyway,
the boot.
What's that?
Wasn't someone in the boot for one of those trips?
Well, let's not talk about it. Probably Headley, to be honest. But yeah, let's move on because I've got a pretty funny idea to. Me and Daniel are going to talk a bit of football, right? About the St Kilda's new Dream Team coaching panel. We've got to get some sports in here. And Cameron, I know you don't watch football. You're not very into the footies, but
the ball sports.
Once we've finished it, yeah, all ball sports. But I want just what you would like at the end of it. I want you to tell me so there's 18 teams on the ladder. All and right. once you've heard this dream team panel of coaches that you've probably got no idea about.
there's 18 teams? Is there honestly 18 teams?
Yeah, there's 18 teams.
I thought it was like 7 or 8.
No, but I want you. Once we finish, I want you to tell me out of those 18 spots where St Kilda will finish next year, okay? And then that's exactly where they're going to finish. And you can hit up Cameron. He's on all the bites, and if you don't like it, hit him up. So today, do you want to lead off, Daniel? What happened today with St Kilda?
So they got Goddard. Goddard's in.
So Goddard's coming back as in a development role. So that completes the Dream Team panel so far. So that's what they sacked their. Yeah. So just a quick recap, Cameron. So 100 days ago, St Kilda. This is a professional football club. They had a red hot crack to the start of the year. They were like 8 wins, 3 losses. So like fairly good in the top 4 teams for the year. They re-signed their coach for 2 years. And then the second half of the season, I think they won about 2 games. So in a season of about 20 games, okay? So they did, and then did nothing in the trade period, acquired 1 person in the trade period. And then the week after the trade period, they had a external review of the football club, and the coach was horrendously sacked. Like it was, it was brutal. It was brutal. I think I had a quick little podcast about it. We talked about it, and then 2 weeks later, or a week and a half later, they re-signed probably one of the best coaches they had in Ross Lyon. He took them to 2 premierships. Not 2 premierships, 2 grand finals. Drew 1 and lost 1. Yeah,
left
and
him in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, left him in a dramatic fashion. They didn't give him the contract that he wanted. Like he literally flew to Fremantle on the red eye and then got like a 4 or 5 year deal with Fremantle. It's been a debacle for St Kilda for a good
ever since then.
Well, he's back at the helm, right? And he's bringing back he's brought back so far some of their best players from that era where he was coaching to form like this dream team panel. So he's got Lenny Hayes. Is he one of Brownlow?
No, I don't think so.
Did
he win a Norm Smith maybe or something?
Maybe won a Norm Smith, which is best on ground for the grand final.
I'm not sure, yeah.
Maybe. But he's like, hard nut. Brennan Goddard takes no shit, throws some pretzels when he doesn't win. Do you remember that?
He sooks it up.
He's a very competitive man. Corey Enright, premiership defender for Geelong, absolutely cracker of a backman, and Robert Harvey, who is a Brownlow medalist, but like 300 games, just an absolute beast of a midfielder. So they've like gone out and got all these guys, all the old legends of the football club, to come back and try and steer this ship, because they've been underachieving now for a good 4 or 5 years, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. They had a list that wasn't too bad a few years ago, and they just haven't performed to the standard.
Yeah, exactly right. So, having said all that, Cameron, are they going up the ladder next year, or are they going down?
I think they'll come in at about 7th, by the sounds of it.
That's finals. Ooh, that is big call. They'll make the finals. You've heard it here first, Cameron.
Oh, they'll make the finals. St Kilda. The Kilda boys.
The Kilda boys. That's exactly what I wanted. The Kilda boys.
Wait, what's their theme song, Cameron?
Come on, you good old St Kildas. Kick that Sharon one more time.
That's better. That's better than the original.
I don't understand how, like, statistically, it seems like a disproportionate amount of like footy players are tone deaf now. When you hear them sing, it's horrendous. I don't think I've ever heard a group that's like hitting a structured song, you know?
Should have, after the game, warm up the vocals.
Yeah.
Right. Check the acoustics and then sing.
Just everyone's got to have like one crap player on the team, but he's just an awesome singer. They wheel him to the front at the end of the match.
That's a good idea. He just comes in. He's got one of those. Cameron, you play music, so you tell me what it would be, and you put it in your mouth, and you can pick the tune. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like he's like,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He comes in. He's just like, all right, boys. And then the actual St Kilda song is, oh, when the Saints come marching in. Oh, how I want to be there with St Kilda. Oh, when the Saints come marching. What's that?
Is that really the song?
Yeah, that's their song, yeah.
Oh, God.
But see how close you were?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. They're all the same kind of like, you know, like bombastic kind of style, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Giants. So there's like the Greater Western Sydney Giants, Cameron. All right, this is even better. I'm liking where this is going. So they are orange and black, right? They are the Greater Western Sydney Giants. Okay. So it's a giant. It's a man. It's a giant man. What do you think their theme song is? Well, their footy song, their winning song.
What do I think it is? It has to be something to do with Giants. Is that like a popular culture song that they've stolen, like the St.
No. Daniel, give him a heads up of like the sort of beat that it is. Can you think of it?
Bum, 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 bum.
Sing it to me. What is it?
Go ahead.
What is it? Where the Giants of the what? Oh, hear the sound of the now you've put me under the pump. I can't remember it. But it's like it's something to do with Giants, like the sound of the Giants like bounding over the ground or something like that.
Bounding over the ground.
Giants
marching in.
Yeah, pretty much. It's about you're doing something with football, whatever your thing is, and you're marching.
Or what colour you are. Hence, Carlton are the Navy Blues.
Yeah.
Their song is, we are the Navy Blues.
It's a real simple format, isn't it?
Now I know it's like, we are the sound of the West, the mighty Sydney Giants or something like that. Absolutely trash. All right. And on other news, for speaking of Carlton, Daniel, they have signed, I reckon it's a pretty good acquisition of another hard nut into the coaching panel.
Yeah.
With old Brett Ebert joining the fold to join Michael Voss, Ashley Hansen. Ashley Hansen's a good one. So you got 2 Eagles players.
Yeah. They're building a good team. It's hard players. They just need to play harder. If they play like their coaches, they'll be good.
The coach, Michael Voss, Cameron, he's a very a hard man. He's like a bit of a heavy hitter.
Man.
Real man's man, heavy hitter on the field. Where did they finish last year, Daniel? Oh, so get this,
1
Cameron.
point away from finals.
Get this. They started the year with a bang, 8-2. They were lost 2 games and then won
Top of the ladder.
Top of the ladder. And they missed. They literally made it all the way to the last game. They had to beat Collingwood, and they were playing. They were going to make the finals for the first time since 2013. They lost by 1 point, and in a dramatic fashion, bumbled out of the finals by 1.
Well, these are the only team to be in the top 8 for the whole year and not make the finals.
So, having said that, they've got this 2 hard nuts now. They picked up a very good runner in Blake Acres.
Yeah,
he plays a wing position, so he runs up and down the field, back and forth all day. So are they going? Are they
the Goggins?
He's like a David Goggins of Carlton. They going back up, or they going to dramatic fashion miss the finals? That's on you, Cameron.
They're going to miss the finals, sadly. They'll just drop it by a little bit at the end. It's going to be dramatic.
Wow, I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Not for Daniel.
No.
But I'll hold you to it, all right? So, sorry, Carlton fans, but Cameron's backing in St Kilda, so my brother and my dad will be happy. That'll be good. And, so now we're going to try a new little segment. We'll see how it goes. I've got an intro here. Have you got one sorted, Daniel? Do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first? So you
go. I'll do one. I'll do one next week. You do one this week.
All right, and then Cameron, if you can think of one. All right, so I'll start it.
Y'all know what time it is, beef of the week.
That's Kanye West.
What's the head?
I know him personally, and he did that for me. Not too many people are brave enough to say that these days, But I can't control what he says. But the premise of Beef of the Week is just something petty that's annoyed you for the week. You just bring it on here, you get it off your chest, and you just let people know that they just messed up. And like mine's petty as, but it was quite frustrating. I caught a bus to work, and I get to this certain bus stop at a certain time, and they have a guy there that checks to see if the buses are running on time. And my bus was dramatically late. It was 15 minutes late. And the guy, he works for Transperth, and he goes, this guy's running a bit late. He always seems to be late when he does this route. And I was like, yeah, well, that's not how buses should work, mate. And he goes, oh, do you think everybody here will be late for work? And then I was like, yeah, because the bus was meant to leave 15 minutes ago. And he's like, oh, well, I guess, yeah. He goes, oh, well, shit happens. Sort of like that, that sort of attitude towards other people's jobs. And I was just, it killed me for the rest of the day. Honestly, I was like standing there, and I was like,
The nerve, the audacity.
the audacity. But yeah, so that's my beef of the week. You got one, Cameron? Anything pissed you off this week?
Not a person, not a thing. I don't think I'm in the process in my life where I'm trying not to have beefs, but I did have a minor beef with a bird of some sort. I've been feeding the crows at work because I'm trying to befriend them. I have a goal of a crow landing on my arm before I leave this job at some point, and I've got strategic places every day where I'm feeding these crows, and they come down and they greet me, I give them the food, and we've got this thing. But there's like a little family of little willy wagtail magpies, little aggressive tiny birds.
Yeah.
And man, they've got beef with my crows. So because I'm so tight with the crows, I've got beef with them, and it's they're ruining my whole setup because they're coming in and trying to get the goods. That's about the only
The
beef I
nerve,
have.
the audacity.
Those birds are savages. They chase the crows around at my work too. They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, man. They don't give a fuck. They're the Nate Diaz of the birds.
They come inside and shit over stuff, man. They're like all over the place, man.
They are like the Nick Diaz army of birds. Like, especially if there's like 2 or 3 of them, they'll just be like just peppering away at bigger birds. Just while the whole time whilst like giving the birds the fingers. Willy wagtails. Oh man! Speaking of Nick Diaz, but do you think? Yeah, like, do you reckon he'll box Jake Paul next or what?
Oh, no, I hope not. That would be horrendous.
For who? For everyone, the viewers, or for Nate?
For everyone. I'm not a huge fan of these like celebrity match things that are going on at the moment. I think everyone's naive, man. I think they're all fixers. I think this is like what submission wrestling was in Japan in the 80s. People have just found a way to make entertaining fixes.
Yeah. I'm big on it's Jake, like it is fixed because like I think money talks for starters, especially in boxing. Boxing has been fixed for like years, even before like big names. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like
even the nature of how people come up, like how can you have 40 wins if things are really evenly matched? I think in MMA you see people with more even records, unless they're absolute phenoms, that bring something completely innovative to the sport. But boxing, I feel like they're not going to set, if they're trying to build people up to that status, they're not going to just, it's not going to be even matches all the time. You're trying to make a story, like you look at Tyson. It's like what's the word? It's like a saga, You're not going to have him lose.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a saga. Like you build up and you fight like these no names, and then you have that big, like that, and then you get towards the end, and it's like a boss fight, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
But like, yeah, for you go on, you see these dudes like boxing records, especially the amateurs, and like, yeah, you have a look at who like that KSI fought. He fought like those 2 guys in the one night. That bloke that he fought in the second fight, that skinny bloke, he was like a professional boxer, and he didn't even look like. I was like, how has he even got like a positive record? Like he didn't even look like he wanted to be. He'd never been punished in his life. So I was like, who the hell is they lining these guys up to fight? I think with like MMA, like you can do it like sort of like that in the lower grades, so to speak, of like promotions. You're getting these like no namers and stuff like that. But when you start getting into the big boy leagues, is like you get found out. Where a lot of like boxing, you can hide behind a padded record.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Especially you see like MMA, like professional records, and like a 9-1 record is decent, is good. And then like you'll get a boxer who is like 20-0, and he's had one good fight, or not even that. Sometimes they just pad the record so much. MMA, yeah, you definitely get found out a lot quicker.
But you just got to remember, even though, like, he won, he got pieced up pretty good for like what seemed to me like Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. It seemed like a sparring session. Like Anderson Silva wasn't in there to hurt him.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like a promotion, man. It seemed like sports entertainment. And it's like, and then you've got the whole other aspect of what they're trying to do, of like the bet, like if he wins, he's got to help me do this foundation thing, which is cool. Like, I think that's a really good idea. But I think the fight is what they use to generate, because we're living in this like attention economy, like they really want people to care about these fights. They're really in people's faces.
Yeah, well, that's because they need the pay-per-view buys, and every time he fights somebody that's not an actual boxer, the pay-per-views go down, even though he claims to be selling millions. I don't think...
he came out and said that one did poorly. I think it only did like 200,000 buys, which, probably just paid for the rent for the place they hired, But they're not... They didn't... I don't think they made any money off that fight. He came out and said that the other day. But I don't know, like, going back to if Nate Diaz fights, whether it happens or not, I'd still watch it. I don't care.
I'll definitely watch it. I'd love to see any of them fight.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I don't know, like, I think it would be a bad fight. I don't know. I don't see it being a good fight either way. But, yeah, you'd watch it just for entertainment value.
But that's one thing. Nick Diaz, I don't think can be bought.
You don't think he can be bought?
It's hard, man. Like, it's Nick Diaz or Nathan Diaz, Nate Diaz. Do you honestly think? I don't think there's any amount of money in the world for like a Diaz brother to go in there and lose, especially against a YouTuber.
I don't know. How are they struggling after? Because it's not like they're doing much in MMA. And how much money would they have from their fame? It's like it's getting older now. That generation's kind of dying off. It's a real change of the guard.
Yeah.
Maybe you could buy him. He might need to make his rent, man.
Oh, he has like his own like thing now, because his mate boxed on the first fight. Well, one of his students fought on the first fight of the card. So he's got like that Nick Diaz army and stuff like that. But who knows? We'll see. What's his name, Daniel, as well? Like Paul Acosta. He's talking about going to boxing now too. But like,
it's weird that, to be fair, like, yeah, it's just a payday. It really is. Like, that's all they're looking for. It's not any, I don't know, there's no real value. Like, I don't know, it doesn't like add to their legacy, doesn't take it. Well, it might take away if they lost, disastrously or something. But yeah, it's just purely a money grab. And UFC, they're like, oh, we're making, however much they're making, 50K bonuses and stuff. And then they go and do one, 8-round boxing match and walk away with a couple million. And, you weigh up the options. But you got to have the following too. Like, I mean, Costa, like, we'd watch it and stuff, but he's not like a household name. I know plenty of people that don't have a clue who Paulo Costa is. Wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. So you got to be big too. Like, that's where like people like Nate Diaz have the following, even if it's definitely like a more older generation, but young people still know him just based off of what he's done, and McGregor and all them sort of things. He's fairly famous. He's transcended like UFC in a way.
Yeah. I think that's what you need to do if you want it to be like, especially if you want to get that money in the UFC, you have to transcend the UFC. And he did that when he obviously choked out Conor McGregor. That was the best thing that could ever happen to Nate Diaz. Yeah.
Because like UFC fans, everyone knew who he was, but no one knew who he was like the Joe Schmoes. And then he has that fight and he's on, ESPN and he's on all the sports shows. He's everywhere, worldwide.
I wish I had that. I wish I had that as a thing. I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. I love him and I hate him, man. Because for ages there. That's the one thing I hate. Is like, I'm not a professional fighter or anything, but what's his name's been doing it now for a couple of years. Henry Cejudo, he like retired, and then he just sits there on Twitter claiming that he's still like the triple C
Triple chip sounds about right.
Yeah, calling out everyone left, right, and centre, but only will come back like for a title fight and stuff like that.
That's my biggest gripe with Diaz. Is he always says people talk shit, but he literally just talks shit all the time. Like he fights once or twice a year and sits on Twitter and Instagram talking shit. You're just calling out the same thing you're doing.
It's pretty much what we do, but
yeah. We don't get paid for it.
Yeah, well, not yet. But yeah, Connor's the same. But see, the thing that kills Conor McGregor is, he's too big. He's too big to have, just to smash on a 6-week like a fight camp and get him into a fight. Yeah. You need to have like a half-year build-up just for him to have one fight. It's good. It's just as detrimental to him as well. Like the inactivity has just sent him so far behind. You have a look at like Dustin Poirier, who like obviously cleaned him up twice in the last 2 fights. He's fighting. He was fighting 3 or 4, like 3 times a year, 4 times max.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So you need to be in there and active. And Henry Cejudo thinks he's just going to come back and just steamroll like Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Or like someone like that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that's why I like Volkanovski.
It's tough. I don't know. It's tough because if there was ever like a person, like, because he is literally an athlete. Like, he grew up wrestling. He's an Olympian. If he's training, you'd think if anyone could come in ripping form and ready, it would be someone who's been a professional athlete their whole life versus someone like how you're saying McGregor has to have more time. He's known for like maybe not having the best cardio, not being he's more of a knockout artist than an endurance athlete, So like you say, you want someone like him. But if anyone was, Cejudo's the type of person I reckon could come in pretty good condition. He's like a Mighty Mouse. You just know they're going to show up. But Mighty Mouse still fights. That's the difference. So yeah, it's questionable, but yeah, he is literally been an athlete for however old he is now, 30 odd years of his life. So.
Do you catch much of it anymore, Cameron, or have you sort of like moved away from MMA?
I still watch bits and pieces, when there's like a really good card. But I think I've gone more to the no-gi grappling stuff over the last couple of years, just because it feels more accessible, And I think it's more entertaining in some ways. Like, I love MMA, and I've been a huge MMA fan, like, my whole life, basically, like, whole young adult to now life. But I think the last few years I've kind of lost interest, probably, like, since COVID, I started to lose interest in MMA.
So do you think, what do you think, Gordon Ryan's the GOAT, or what do you reckon?
I love Gordon Ryan, man. Like, he's obviously a very questionable, shady person. Yeah. And like the funny thing is the jiu-jitsu community is so small that with 6 degrees of separation, like, you get these stories firsthand, even from people that are locals here that have met the guy. But as a grappler, it's hard to. I think he's so well-rounded. It's going to take someone really special to beat him, or he's just going to have to get older. Because the ADCC, like, it's completely undeniable. It's
just ridiculous.
Destroyed everyone in every single aspect of the game, man. I loved it, dude. I was stoked. I thought it was such a good, I think that's probably my favorite ADCC so far. Yeah. Except like really old.
He had that 11-second submission as well. He gets the leg lock submission within 11 seconds, man. He was like, he just went on a tear in that as well. It's pretty undeniable at the moment. I reckon I agree. Like, it has to be someone special. It's probably like you just said, getting old. I reckon it's that next generation person that's probably going to have to take him out. Because he's so calm, he's so cool and collected. Probably since in the last 50 fights for sure, I have never seen him like stressed or feel like he's under the pump or look like he's like about to lose or anything. He seems just so calm in there. It's unreal to watch.
Because you can't put him anywhere, he's happy to get taken down. Doesn't matter. His open guard's good enough that you're not going to do anything. You're not going to get past, and he's going to leg lock you.
He pulls guard. He pulls guard all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. but he's really good on top. He's a really good fundamental player on top and can pass, So what do you do against him? What do you do? It's going to be like there's some young guys coming out of B team at the moment, and I think they will be like they'll really change how the whole game works, and it will be revolutionary. It's going to make his stuff look like the old like Brazilian close guard gi like adaptation to no-gi in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So it transition. Cameron is no slouch either, Daniel, when it comes to grappling. He has grappled with some of the best here in Australia and has met some of the older generation. Who have you met, Cameron? I'll let you explain it.
Oh, well, first I should disclaimer, I'm the world's shittest purple belt. But I started at a really fun time, like when I had this, when you guys left, like the end of Elnooblay, there was a void in my life for maybe, what would I have been? I think I was 16 when you guys left, right? So I put on a stack of weight. I got to like 136 kilos, man. And then one day I saw Tough season 1, and it changed my life forever. And so I immediately decided I'm going to move to the city. I'm going to do jiu-jitsu and MMA. I'm going to get involved with it. And I got down here in 2009, so like early on in the scene. And my big dream was like if I could one day meet one of the Gracies, if I could meet Hoist Gracie. And then I walked into the gym that I was training at in Adelaide, and there's a picture of Hoist on the wall with the coach. And I'm like, oh my God, you know this guy? And then you realize how small the whole like jiu-jitsu world was at the time, So I was part of a really fun era because those people were like right there, like you met. I met heaps of the Gracies over the years. I trained met Hoyler and Rodrigo and Hoist. Never got to meet Henzo because he kind of stuck to his own American kind of thing. But yeah, it was a really fun era, and I've met some cool like drop-in people like at the time because there was only like 1 or 2 gyms in Adelaide. If a big name came through and they wanted to train somewhere, there was a 50% chance that they were going to end up at the gym we were all training at. So like Maynard from Tool turned up one day. We had like Todd Fox, who's a Hicks and Gracie black belt, turn up one day. There were just like people on the scene everywhere. And my first ever jiu-jitsu lesson, I walked in and I was watching these 2 guys. They were like, one was a 2-stripe white belt and one was a 3-stripe white belt. And I remember stopping this dude and saying like, oh man, they were doing like a mount escape to half guard. It's the most like simple thing. And at the time it blew my mind. And I said like, dude, that was amazing what you're doing. And it was Craig Jones as a white belt, like,
oh, no way. What the hell?
Yeah, so it was such a good time, man. And some of the people who are coming up now that are like locals will be huge names, like all going over to the B team. So I've been like really blessed for the people who I got to train with and be a part of. And I was never like a competitor, like I competed and I did tournaments and I won a few and lost a lot. But I was so stoked with like the caliber of guys I got to train with in like the best years. Aside from now, I feel like the scene is probably the best it's ever been now.
Oh, it's incredible. It's exploded, like in the last few years especially. It's massive now.
I wish I never gave it up, to be honest.
Yeah. Dude, I remember when you were training at like, what was it, Legion 13 or Gracie Baja or something like that?
It was Gracie Baja, and then they had the dude that ran it, I can't remember his name, but it was great. Like I was doing obviously MMA most nights, but like BJJ I absolutely love because it's just like I've talked about it maybe last episode, but it was like I strive for competition, and like BJJ, I reckon it's the ultimate competition. I can't chase I've chased like competition my whole life, and nothing compares to it's just you and one other person. Do you know what I mean? Or you know exactly what I mean. And it just it comes down to who's better. And like in my mind when I trained, and when I competed, like I never like competed in like proper tournaments. In-house, I competed a lot of like in-house tournaments. And like I just had the natural ability to do it, and I would like I was only a white belt, and like I was rolling with brown belts, with purple belts from the get go, because I was maybe like a 1 or 2 years behind like the big influx of like MMA and all that sort of stuff. And it I learnt. I'm a quick learner, and like I just learnt. Learned a lot of stuff, and then I just the sheer competition of knowing, like, you know, if I do not get out of this, I'm going to sleep. And like, I don't know, like I'm always chasing that high of just proving myself against someone else. Even if I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm a sore loser, that's for sure. I hate losing.
I think it's a human thing, man. You know, like it's like wrestling in general, grappling in general. It's a real archaic kind of sport. You can look at tombs from Egypt in 2500 BC, where there's like paintings on the wall of wrestling techniques that we still use now. You know, so you're tapping into this huge history of like the hundreds and hundreds of millions of people that have done it before you. You know, like I think it's a connection to a much more like sapien monkey kind of part of who we are. You know? I think that's the coolest thing about it.
Yeah, and you don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be like the strongest bloke. Like you need some strength, but like you can, like a lot of smart people are really good at BJJ as well. Oh, at that submission, because it's all about, you know, just like setups. Like tricking them into thinking, oh, you know, what's he going to do?
It's like chess, you know.
Yeah, it is. It's
thinking
like chess.
10 moves ahead.
Yeah, you always got to think like 10 moves ahead. And like, it was like the ultimate competition. I loved it. I still love it. Like, I love a good person that does like a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. I never got to.
I never did it ever, but I could watch it like every weekend. If it was on all the time, I'd watch it all the time. Like, it is on all the time, but you know, like if I had the time to watch it more, I'd be watching it more. It's great to watch.
I hope we see more cards coming up on like like flow grappling and fight pass and all that sort of stuff. I hope it does get more, and I think it will, because some of the gyms are packed. Huge teams, huge amount of people doing it. Where in late 2010, there's just no one was interested in it. No one knew what it was.
I remember watching ADCC a few years ago, even just a few years ago, and there was like, it wasn't that big. The crowd wasn't that big compared to this year, and there was just tons of people in the streams everywhere. You could find it posted everywhere. There was so many people watching it.
when I first started, I think, like, I do remember talking to you about it first, Cameron. I'm like, and you even sent me over an old gi. Do you remember?
No, did I?
You don't?
I remember. Because you sent it over and Brad was at work, so I put it on. So when he got home, I was wearing it with no shirt on, a big fat guy hanging out.
He looked like Joey Diaz. No, but you sent me my first gi.
No way, that's cool, as man.
Yeah. So you sent me off, and like, lo and behold, man, I got myself. So I used that. It was more of because you were doing judo at the time, or you had just finished judo. And it was more of a judo gi, so it was a little bit longer. Yeah. But it didn't bother me, because I had me white belt, man. I was like proud as punch, like, whacking me white belt. And lo and behold, like, I met a bloke through work who also loved it, but he never took that thing. And I got him down to the class, and like, I bought my own gi, and then I passed your gi on to him.
Yeah, I wonder who's got it now.
Yeah, so and then guess what, man? He this year he won a couple of gold medals at whatever tournament they had about a month or two ago here.
Yeah, cool, man.
So it's funny. I can't remember. I can't, like, that. I had that sitting in my cupboard for ages, man. The gi, I had it hanging up, and I was like, yeah, Cameron sent me that gi.
Oh man, that's crazy. And it's another connection to Port Augusta, man, because that gear, like I was doing judo in Port Augusta before I had to find whatever I could find at the time that was close to MMA. So I was at the boxing club and the judo club there.
Yeah, so like, but that's the thing. Like when I started, I could only find like maybe one. There was one up near you. Remember, Daniel? I think you went and had a look one time. That was about as close as you got.
Yeah,
I think they opened a gym up near you, but there was like one. It was Gracie Baja in Cannington, and that was like the only MMA BJJ class that I could find.
Man, there wasn't much. Adelaide had like three main gyms, and like two of those kind of had a bit of an alliance, and there was one kind of gym that was off on its own. And it was so like they were basically just like three gangs, you know. Like it was so funny the way people reacted. And now there's probably 20 gyms across Adelaide. There's probably more.
So many here, so many in Perth, man. Every second suburb's got an MMA gym or a boxing or everything.
You can throw a net out. Like where I lived, man. This dude, he was a carpenter, but he was also a boxer, and he like. On the street where I lived when I was married, he built like a boxing gym at the back of his house, and he would train at the back there. And you could he had people. He would make them do laps of the street, and then they'd go and box, do laps of the street, go and box and shit. My mate Gaz, his wife at the time, because he would also do female boxing, and she went there as a to do fitness. So we met, and I ended up meeting him. He was pretty good bloke, but because he was it was classed as a gym. He actually got like fighters in to do speaks, and that's how I met Rashad Evans.
You met Rashad Evans?
Yeah, he was in a house in a gym that a carpenter built at the back of his house.
What?
Yeah.
This was still top of his game, Rashad, wasn't it? I think
he had just fought John Jones.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And I just literally walked around the corner to this bloke's house, and out the back was about 5 blokes, and one of them was Rashad Evans.
Wow, the people you meet, hey?
And I got to sit there, and I picked his brain for a good hour or so. Got a picture. I was wearing my Kubel Up football jumper. I had like a hoodie with the Kubel Up, and I standing there with my fist out, with Rashad Evans. And I was just like, we got to get you to play some football. And then after that, so I just talked to about him, what was his process going into that the John Jones fight, and what was it like coaching alongside of obviously Rampage Jackson in that wild season of tough.
When he punches the door and rips the fucking door off him.
And it's just like, treat me like a bitch then, Rashad. Go on, treat me like a bitch.
Rampage is like one of the original heels of that era, you know.
Yeah.
So much.
He's an alpha. You're a beta. I'm an alpha.
It was wild, man. I was just like, I can't believe that. Yeah, Rashad Evans, a former UFC champion, is in a house in Yanjibup.
If you don't know, Cameron, that is a shithole of a suburb.
Yeah. It was funny because when I put the photo up, everyone was just like, where the hell did you meet this bloke? And I was like, he was on my street.
That's so strange. 6 degrees of separation again.
Yeah. It's just but he had everyone, man. He had, I was spewing that I met him late because it wasn't, I'm talking, he was a good carpenter. So it was a proper gym at the back. He had weights, everything. He had a boxing ring and everything. It was just like you walked into the back of his house and you were in a gym, like a boxing gym. And he had Tito Ortiz at his house.
What?
Yeah. He just had he was a good boxer. He had a bit of a following.
They came to train with him?
They just came to hang out.
Check out his carpentry skills, apparently.
But yeah, I just
butterfly joints.
I was looking at the wall, and I was like, man, how have you got Tito Ortiz? You're a boxer. And then I just remember like sitting on a couch. I've got like videos still. I've like I need to find it. I've got an MMA glove signed by Rashad Evans and a picture of and signed and shit.
Yeah, no way.
So like obviously like yeah, when like I had a couple of old MMA gloves from when I was training and stuff like that. And then I was like, I'm not using these anymore. So I was just like, I just literally ran down the street, grabbed him, went back and got him to sign it. Oh, but he's a good bloke, man. He hit me up on Instagram on his flight home.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, he was like,
just fangirling so hard.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, it was nice to meet you and stuff. And I was like, yeah, nice to meet you, man. Like, thanks for the time and shit like that. It's funny. I've had like little weird stories like that. Do you remember the long-haired bloke? He was on. He's friends with like Joe Rogan and stuff. I can't remember his name. Justin Wren. Yeah, that's his name. Justin Wren.
Yeah, the heavyweight. Yeah,
the heavyweight, and he did. Yeah. So when he was on Tough, for some strange reason, he added me on Facebook. Like legit, he added me on Facebook, and then I was just like, "What the hell?" And he messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, how like what's going on?" I must have had like some training pics up or whatever at the time. Yeah, and then like I just struck up a conversation with this bloke. He's way too big to talk to me now.
Yeah, he digs wells in Africa and shit.
He digs wells in Africa. He's doing good things. And there's another one. And another one. Junie Browning. Do you remember Junie Browning?
Yeah.
He had the grenade on his head. Well, I'm friends with him. I was friends with him.
Right. How did that friendship start?
Facebook. No, legit. He hit me up on Facebook, and then we got talking. And he added me on the PlayStation. And I was literally
Browning added you on PlayStation.
How wild is this? How wild of a story is this? And I would play like Call of Duty and stuff with Junie Browning. That was before, and then obviously he disappeared, and everyone thought he was dead. And I would see like news sites going, Junie Browning dead and stuff. But all he had like a major staph infection while he was training in the Philippines, and he did almost die. He got beaten to like within an inch of his life because he was training like Thai boxing over there, and obviously he just went. Junie Browning. Like for anybody that doesn't know Junie Browning, look him up. He tried to take on Ryan Bader in the Tough House, but he was a hothead, and he would drink a lot. And from what he said to me, he got like they were like fucking bottled him and everything. They just got him in a bar one night and just like beat him within an inch of his life. So he disappeared for like a good couple of years. I legit had messages from him, the bloke, on Facebook, and that was the same. I don't know why. I don't know how this happened, but it's happened a third time. And Daniel knows about this because I send him screenshots because he still pops up on my PlayStation, and I still get invites to game with him. And that is Matt Mitrione.
What? How?
I don't know. I will see. Give me 2 seconds, right?
I've
else...
met some strange MMA people over the time. I've met some really bizarre characters, but not played Xbox or PlayStation with any of them.
So, I don't know. I did see him on there. I'll just go to my friends list. I got like 70 offline. Oh, it's in alphabetical order. Maybe he's gotten on. Nah, because I seen him the other day. Mitriones, here he is. He hasn't been on for 2 months. But I don't know if you can see it, Cameron, but there he is.
Yeah, oh my God, it is.
Hang on, I can go into messages. Please load. No, something went wrong. Try again. But I wonder if I could remember Junie Browning's if I can remember Junie Browning's messages or his thing, I will get the screenshots and I will put them up for people to have a look. but no word of a lie, I have played Fortnite with Matt Mitrione.
Does he talk? Does he say like, "Hey, what's up, man?" What's he?
No, I just got to I don't know how it happened, but I think I'm again. This is I get on with them early before they take off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think Matt Mitrione, I think they were just trying to grow. I think when they were in the tough house, so they were in that phase where they themselves had no direction. They probably weren't allowed to disclose what happened in the tough house, sort of thing, until it had aired. So they just wanted to talk to somebody or something. And Matt Mitrione hit me up. I do remember getting when I added him on, I accepted his request on the PlayStation Network, and then I just got a message like, "Hey man, you want to play some Fortnite?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Fuck it." I'm not making this up. For anybody that didn't see it, I am not making this up. That's my three. That's just the randomest thing. I'm probably you'll never hear again. It's just so random, so weird.
That's really weird. Do you think you could get them as podcast guests? Because that would be a way to fucking profile it.
Maybe.
Matt Mitrione's on lots of podcasts. We can get him.
Maybe I'll send him a message on the PlayStation Network. Hey, Matt. I know you're on a bit of a decline at the moment, but you want to jump on, have a chat? We can talk some gaming. we don't have to talk about the losses. But he knocked out Fedor, didn't he?
Yep. The first punch, I think it was hell quick.
Double knockout. It was a double knockdown, but Fedor didn't get up. Matt Mitrione did, and then he jumped on Fortnite after.
Yeah.
That's
a good enough claim. Doesn't matter if you beat Fedor. That's a pretty good claim as it is. Even if it is an old Fedor.
He knocked out Fedor Emelianenko and then jumped on Fortnite and played with Brad from Perth. all in a day's work, he reckons. I carried him to many victories. Matt Mitrione, I'm better than you at Fortnite.
That's the lie of that whole story. The rest of it's true.
Okay, yeah, no, you got me. Everything. It was like 2 lies, 2 truths and a lie, and the last one was a lie. He's not bad at Fortnite.
You ever still, Cameron? You ever still play games at all?
A little bit. When the Halo remakey thing just came out, I played that for a bit. I just think at the time, between work and family and training, I can't ever make it happen. It seems like I fall asleep, man. I try, and then 10 minutes later, I'm out.
Yeah, I know.
Remember the old Halo days? We used to play together all the time, and
yeah, that's the best.
The kill shark, you can take your kills all the time, and you lose it. You're like, I got 15 fucking assists. What the fuck?
I remember Halo LAN parties, man. Halo LAN parties were the peak of my existence during that period.
Yeah.
So good.
Nothing will ever compare to just a Halo LAN party. And a bloke from work invited us around to. He's like, "Yeah, you guys play Halo?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "Bring your Xbox. We got plenty of TVs." Went there. They had about fucking 12 TVs in the garage, and every 12. I'm not fucking shitting you. And 12 Xboxes, man. And me and Gareth just hooked up, and we just sat in this bloke's garage for the day, and they just had this Halo tournament of tournaments. It is. It was amazing, and it's I think I had a meme up the other day on Insta, and it was it's just it was man in his man in 30s still chasing that high from a Halo LAN party. But no, I think if you ever do get the time, we got to get back on. Get the
definitely. I got into Apex for a while, but that was so inaccessible. There's just people are so sweaty now that I just can't get to the next level. I would have to put so much volume into playing games to be even for it to be remotely fun. Otherwise, it's just me getting wrecked over and over and over and over.
That was us the other night, man. Yeah. So me and Daniel have been playing Fortnite, Apex, we got a bit out of hand on me and Daniel, as you can tell. As you
Like
would know,
2 years, we played Apex every week for 2 years, man.
Yeah. And like even when I was like going through my like sickness and stuff like that, I was like me and Dad, like I would jump on. Daniel was being like a stay-at-home dad at that point in time too. So like literally, I'd go to the gym. Like my mate would want to train at like 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'd be up at like 6 o'clock, train, like take my like medication and stuff, and then just like literally sit on all day with Daniel playing Apex.
But that's what happened the other day. He was saying like it was so sweaty because like we played it nonstop, and then we played Fortnite for like 4 weeks probably. The last 4 weeks just been, and then we tried to hop on Apex the other night, and the first 3 games we died the second we landed. Like it wasn't even a chance. Just got smashed, and we're like, nah, that's it. Like you have to invest. Like you said, you just have to invest time. It's literally skill. Like it really is skill based. You just got to keep playing it to be any good at it. Otherwise, you're just getting on to die.
But I have been
like strength training. You know, you got to put so much volume in to get really strong. Like I think people underestimate just how much you have to put in, and the equivalent for games is time. You just game repetitions of games over and over and over again. When we were really good at Halo, we played like 8 hours a day, man. Remember how much we used to play?
Yeah, all the time, man. I did like 20-hour days all the time, just playing games, man.
I had 2 days online playtime.
That was the same. I think one of the best Call of Duties that we had, like we were on it non-stop too, was World at War.
Yeah, the dogs. Yeah. Release the dogs.
That one, all I do remember is just like racing home from work, like no responsibilities, have a quick shower, and then jump on like with you two blokes, and then we just like for the rest of the night, just World at War, just fucking. Just like, what are you fucking doing? Like, fuck, what are you doing, Cameron? You're like fucking 10 kills. Come on, man.
Because I remember I moved over to Perth halfway through year 10 or 11 is when I left Port Augusta. And I was meant to be going to Truett College doing like English, maths and that just to get the equivalency for the year. Instead of doing that, because my old man worked away at the mines, I just played games for 6 months straight. I did nothing but play games for 6 months. And then at the end of the year, you got my report. Says he didn't show up. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. I went a couple times.
That's the funny thing about like when you look back at that, and now that you're getting older, you sort of like pick up that you. Well, to me, it's a bit hard for me to say about you, Cameron, or Daniel, but like I tend to catch myself being my dad now that like that I'm a father and stuff like that, and like I probably would look at that report card and be like, "Man, you didn't fucking go."
Yeah, well, that's the thing of having like done all the tricks. I now know all the tricks. So it's all right.
But yeah, it'd be good to get the old to reignite old Street Gang the Knives on Modern Warfare 2. Get the Street Gang.
I'm thinking about it. Everyone at work's been telling me to get it. Everyone says it's really good.
I'll get it. We should get it then. We should plan something soon. We'll get it.
Yeah. If you get it, I'll get it.
All right. Deal. Lock it in.
Platform. We'll lock it in. We'll get it. And we'll fucking it.
I'll literally go get it tomorrow.
The clan tag, the clan tag that we used to have. Remember when the clan tag was just like literally SGTN, Street Gang the Knife.
Yeah, that's Street Gang the Knife.
Do you remember, Cameron, when we used to play Grand Theft Auto and we literally just like we'd carry a knife around and we'd walk over like yeah. Walk around.
Dude, that was the peak of my life. I was on Centrelink doing jiu-jitsu twice a day, 6 days a week, and then just mopping the mats and playing GTA. All I had to do was turn up, train, play GTA, Street Gang the Knife.
Yeah. So we had like people would come up to us in the open world and be like, "Are you guys friendly?" And we're like, "Yeah." It's like all we would say.
People wanted to join.
Yeah, we're like, yeah. Just knife. And then they would like, we'd get them all friendly and they were like, yeah. And then we just stab them. And then we're like, Street Gang the Knife, bitch. Yeah. And then walk off like, yeah. Oh, man. Good times. I want to bring back Street Gang the Knife. But I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been a pleasure to have you on, Cameron. It's been a long time between drinks, as they say. More than happy to get you on. We'll tee up something to play with Modern Warfare too. It's been great. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything continues to be well. That's about it. And I will do my due diligence and I will plug all the pipes. So Gas Bros podcast. We're on Instagram. Go to Instagram. I force people to go to Instagram because there's on there is the one link to rule them all. We've got merch. We've got the Patreon. The Patreon is a big one for a price of what is it, Daniel? A price of a what?
A drink.
A month.
I'm not saying that every time.
You got to do it. You got to get those plugs. You got to, like we said last week with Jason, you got to let the cookie crumble.
Oh, that's right. So Cameron, you need a sign off too, Cameron.
Oh my God!
Jason went with the cookie crumbling, so the bar's pretty low.
The bar is pretty low. So let me finish off. So on Instagram. All the links are there for whatever, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. I'm actually trying to build at the moment a little networking situation for podcasters, right? So if you do manage to listen to this and you do have Aussie and you're an Aussie content creator, I've made a little networking thing, right, that I'm trying to push at the moment, and it's under the guise of the Gas Bros Studios. So you jump on there on Facebook, Gas Bros Studios, or just jump on the Gas Bros podcast, send me a message and I'll send you the group invitation. And all it is, I just want everybody that creates content in Australia to have a platform, and you don't and just plug each other, and then you can network and I want to help people grow. I want to help myself grow. I want us to grow. And I think, I was talking to you about it before, Cameron, and why dream small,
Yeah, definitely.
Not just that, Cameron, that dome is glorious. I'm almost tempted to shave my head.
Do it. Shaving my head is one of the best things I've ever done because, you think about the cleanest that hair could possibly be is if it just doesn't exist at all. So, shaving it.
All he needs now is small glasses, and then we just every time Cameron jumps on the podcast, we'll just have that music go and he can be the Andrew Tate, and all he has to pop on is pop up and just what color is your Bugatti?
Top C, the top C.
Yeah, we'll call him the top C. But it is a glorious. I wish I could bald gracefully, but my head is such an odd shape that your head is symmetrical. My head is not. It is got a lump here. You can see. Look at that.
Your head looks like a cue ball that's been kicked around the pub a few times.
That's fair. So that's up there. It's just a little networking thing. I just want to, I don't know, just what's that? What is that saying? I was trying to think about it, and it's just aim for the what? Aim for the moon, and if you hit the stars or something like that, something along the. Cameron, you're a smart man. You tell me what it is.
I think the saying is something along the lines of aim for the moon, and if you miss, at least you hit the stars. That kind of thing.
There you go. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So what have you got planned? You got are you still training? You still lifting heavy?
Yeah, I'm still training all the time. It's such a big part of my life now that I just I try to never ever stop. And I just noticed I'm just not myself if I'm not training. It's just part of me now. I never stop. So I've got some goals. You know, I'm really into like strength training and stuff like that. I go into powerlifting for a while, so I still have those kind of goals. I want to deadlift 220 on my 32nd birthday, so next March, which I'm aiming towards. And I just got a bike. I've been riding a bike heaps, and I really want to get into trail riding. So those are the things I'm kind of pursuing. But I'm just in that like 30s part of your life where you're just grinding away and working and having a family. It's such a like building up kind of period. So I'm really just like keeping my head down and just trying to stay focused, you know, have some kind of routine.
Yeah,
On the
sounds
grind.
good. Yeah, I need to. I fell off with my training completely. Bit of a back injury, and then
Spinal.
spinal.
Broke my
Nah,
back.
just like yeah, I broke my back. What do you mean spinal? But ever since, like, I sort of like fell off. Then, like, I did a couple of discs are protruding, and it fucking hurts. I'm getting old, and then like I just like stopped training for a little bit, and then I just like lost all momentum.
Mm.
And then like I know what to do, and I know how to get back into it. It's just trying to take. I just need to get that over that hurdle, like most people would have that hurdle of first going to the gym.
Yeah, definitely. And like it comes in seasons, you know, the seasons of life. Like I went through a period when Logan was born where I really fell off the wagon for the first time in, you know, like forever since I started training, and I just like stopped grappling, and it was really hard, man. You know, it was really, really hard to get back on it because I had like a year and a half off. And
Yeah,
I think that's why I'm at the point where it's just like, I need to keep this going because it's so hard to get started and to stop. It's really humbling.
yeah, it is. But like, yeah, I was spewing because I was hitting like personal best like every time I went to the gym. It was like personal best after personal best. I loved it. I think I was deadlifting like maybe 200, like rack pulls. I was doing like 240. Like I was doing like leg presses of like 400 kilos. Just stupid shit.
I
It's just,
remember, I think I programmed a block for you, man. I remember.
oh yeah. You programmed a like a deadlift and squat routine for me, and that increased my strength dramatically.
Yeah, I remember you were training really, really hard during that period.
Yeah, and like yeah, I just love the fact like I could just go to the like my favorite thing was just going to the gym, like smashing like 150 to 160 on the rack and just squatting it and not giving a fuck about anything. Best time. Best time.
Yeah, I love it. I'd love to get back to grappling a bit more as well. I've been trying like the last couple of months. I've gotten on the mats a little bit, but I feel like it's just so hard. Like you're saying before about you take the time off and how hard it is to get back into it. With grappling, man, it's just like it almost feels impenetrable at this point. It's like I've been off training consistently on the mats for maybe like 2 and a bit years now. So like, man, it's really hard. So hard on my neck, so hard on my shoulders. Like it takes days to recover from it. And
getting old, man. Getting old.
yeah, I still want to chip away at it, you know, like 'cause there's so many old dogs that just they stick around. There's guys on the scene that are like 50, 50 to 60 years old. I remember there was a guy that was training in Bali every day at the like MMA main jiu-jitsu place. It was like 64. You know, I'd love to be like that. You know?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Have you thought about a sign off?
A sign off. I've got no idea of a sign off. A sign off. I didn't know this
or
would
a
be strong.
quote or just a quote.
Yeah, leave us with a quote.
Quote. A quote. This is one that I've been thinking about a lot recently. It's a Heraclitus quote, and he says, "Your fate is your character." And it's just something very simple that I think sums me up at the moment. You know, that's a big thing that I'm going through. I don't have a lot going on, but I'm very dedicated to my character. I think that says a lot about like Elnooblay and where it all began and where it's all ending up. You know, character building.
Yeah, no,
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good one. That is a good one. That's a good one. All right. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for being a good friend. Thank you for coming on, and we hope you continue to listen. I hope you continue to jump on, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, do it again soon. Go more in depth.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's been awesome talking to you guys. I missed you guys so much. So I'm stoked to be back in connection.
Yeah, man.
Great.
And like the thing with me, I was telling my mate Lane and that when it comes to like this sort of thing, I don't want to do it alone. Like I never want to do anything. I don't want any like sort of great success or anything like that. I just want to. It's mainly just me hanging with some mates, and I just like. And if somehow it gets like I put the dedication, we get to like a certain point where we don't have to work, and this is our full-time job. I want to bring other people along with me, and you're one of them.
Well, I'd love to be there, man.
So, and on that note, we'll call it a night. And thank you for coming on.
Thanks, mate. Great talking to you, Cameron.
You too. Peace out, dudes.
And as per usual, thank you, Daniel. I wish you would do more work. This is half your job.
I do enough real life work.
This is half your job. I built this up. I gave you 50%, and this is how you treat me, Daniel. This is how you treat your. All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.